everybody? Welcome to the Summer Invitational 2022 pre-show. As always, I am here with none other than Mr. Tank. Don't call me Tank, but at least I have the person who can carry me in the actual IGL circuit, as I got some team to carry the rest of the organization, Kurt89, as well as special guest Dilly Bar here. Tank, Dilly, how's it going, fellas?
Good.
Man, it's great. I got the two loves of my life outside of my wife here, and I'm sandwiched in between this beautiful men. Like, what more can I ask for?
Honestly,
No doubt. No, Dilly, Dilly was talking here a little bit. He's like, I don't know. What do I talk? What do I do? I don't know what to say. And so if you see him like a rabid squirrel, like constantly ping-ponging around, that's what's going on. But hey, Dilly, thank you for joining us here tonight. It's going to be awesome as we go through this with you.
Yeah, definitely excited to be here. Thanks for having me. So excited to see how much stuff I can talk on these teams, you know.
No doubt. Well, hey, everyone, thank you for joining us here tonight. As we did for the Spring Invitational, we are now in the Summer Invitational 2022, and we will be having a pre-show each and every week. Now, going forward from this week on, they will be on Tuesdays prior to the Tuesday matches, starting at either 7:15 or 7:30. We haven't quite ironed out all the details quite yet Eastern, but be on the lookout for that once we do. But since this is the first one, we have to make sure that we run through, highlighted all of the teams that we have here with us in the Summer Invitational, which is going to be an absolutely fantastic competition. And you know, first, before we even get to highlight first impressions, Tank, who's the one outside of Origin, because I'm not allowing you to talk about them, who's the one you're looking forward to here for the summer?
I mean, if we're talking about newcomers coming into the Invitational here, I'm excited for New Horizons, in all honesty. This is a team that I used to follow quite a bit, captained by Corky. Some of you know him as Landon, was an old MPG team, and they really impressed me in the open qualifiers with how well they played. And I mean, taking second out of those qualifiers where there were a ton of really good teams, including, I think Rbg Claw was in there. Two Ethos teams were in there. Some Venus teams. Like, there was a tough competition, and they took second. And so for new teams coming in, they are definitely the ones that you need to watch out for from the open quals, because I'm not allowed to talk about Origin Gaming.
Well, you could have talked about Origin Gaming too if you were talking about the open quals, but
I mean,
listen, I only banned one, so that's on you. Apparently doesn't have loyalty for the franchise. But speaking of loyalty for the franchise, for those of you unawares, Dilly Bar, the fearless, or sometimes feared or fearing leader, it just depends on the day, of Best Buds United, able to get that automatic bid. And Dilly, talk a little bit about BBU. What's going on there on the backside? How's that team feeling coming into the Summer Invitational?
So obviously they had an ending to the last season they weren't happy with. So they're really taking this off season, and they really went pedal to the metal, and recruited some people that they think they could help balance out the team really well. And they've been really working with chemistry and just really increasing that team chemistry and cohesion to make sure that they can really try to, you know, make a name for themselves this time around. So, I mean, overall, I mean, the hype is there. They're super excited, and they're, you know, excited to see what's going to happen in this Invitational. We got a lot of new teams, got a lot of new talent, so it's going to be a good time.
Absolutely. Let's get right into those teams here tonight. And again, the format will stay similar. We'll get to that a little bit, but without further ado, the first team winning the Spring Invitational, knocking off the previously back-to-back champions, it is Irate Esports, with a roster of about 50 players. This might be the new team minimal that we had from the Spring Invitational. It just keeps going on and on and on. But I'll tell you what, that team is absolutely stacked, and super stoked to see how they come into the Summer Invitational, and are they able to pick up right where they left off?
We actually got to see them partake in the Caster Clash on Saturday. If you didn't check that out, it was an absolutely amazing event. And surprisingly, Wet had a very good showing. They went 3-0 in group stages, actually beat Jubilee or Origin in group stages off of a kickoff. So the first matchup we get to see between invitational teams, they were able to take that down, and they didn't even have Brody on the team. Now, once they did make bracket stages, they did drop first and second round, so they didn't advance. But still having that good showing against Origin team, which I think a lot of people are going to say most likely the favorites in this one, Wet able to hold their own, and so they have a very, very good chance to repeat here.
Yeah, and like you said, without having Brody there, they still an incredibly strong team, and Dilly, I know you got to see him, and on the back end, I don't want to speak too much of how much you do on that backside, being quote unquote the team manager, and how much scouting and preparation you do with the squad. But this Wet team, they're for real. It just nods. He got no input.
I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I mean, they definitely have the talent, and I know, like you said, they're the reigning champs. They took out Trash, which obviously was the team to beat last season. So there was definitely some close games that I've been following Wet pretty close as well, and I know my team has as well. So there's definitely been like a lot of close games that they've had throughout the playoffs that really could have swung either way. So I'm definitely excited to see how they can hold those reins and see if they can continue the madness that they're on. So.
Yep, and they're definitely going to have bullseyes on the back, especially for the team that ended as the runner-ups in the Spring Invitational, getting knocked off from their podium after they had won back-to-back, trying to go for that three-peat, but falling just short is Trash Esports coming back in. Tuck, CG, Nico, with Murky and Zach as well on the roster here, and they're looking for revenge. And Tank, you were rather ride or die with Trash Esports when it came to pick them, and you gotta wonder, was them not taking that W a little bit of a kick in the pants of, hey, we're not top dogs just from playing how we play. Like, we need to buckle down and start figuring out how to take down these squads. And see, Tank ignores me too.
I think.
Or did we lose him? We might have lost Tank. He's just staring forward, so might have lost audio. So, Dilly, I'll throw it to you then. Now, this Trash Esports, they seem to be up and down, up and down. What are you looking for from them here in the summer?
I'm definitely looking for a lot more chemistry from this team. As we saw those first invitationals, they were lights out. They just took it to the house, right? And I think this last season, I know I've heard some comments from some of the players. They were, sometimes they had moments where they just didn't seem like they're on the same page, but they made it work. And near the end of the season, they kind of started peaking. So I really think if they can put it together early and, peak at the right time, and, as long as they're putting the time together, I think that's will be the difference maker here, is having that chemistry that was lacking a little bit. So.
Yeah, I'm back.
Hey, there he is. Literally, I looked over. I saw that you sent me a message saying that you lost audio as I was throwing it to you, and I'm like, well, he's just gonna stare at me. So, but listen, I can't move on to the next squad without at least having you talk a little bit of your ride and die squad, at least in pick'ems with Trash Esports, and what you're looking forward to seeing them here in the summer.
I mean, I think we can just expect more out of Trash like we've seen before, right? They won back-to-back. They lost to Wet this time around 4-2 after going up 2-0. They were on the verge of going back-to-back-to-back, much like the Sewer Rats, but just not quite able to get over that hump. And I know a lot of them had been losing kind of that feeling for Rocket League, but talking to them in the offseason, they're coming back reloaded with a whole new fire and vigor to them that we haven't seen since probably the first Invitational with them. And they have a lot to prove after losing this one. They want to come back and show that they're still one of the best teams in IGL, if not the best.
Yep, Absolutely. The Rock Tank saying, well, listen, Tank will answer me, and he will listen to me. There are two constants, all right? Those are two constants, Rock Tank.
It might not be an answer to the question he asked, and I might not be listening to the right thing, but yes, both of those things will happen.
It is absolute. And speaking of absolute, continuing to those absolute automatic bids, and third and fourth place starting off with Eclipse Esports, and a team that really started to come into their own, especially late in the season, into playoffs, started playing a whole lot better, and I have high expectations from this Eclipse squad, really keeping their core group and continuing to grow.
Yeah, and I mean, for Eclipse, the big thing, like you said, they had a really good end of the season after starting out a little slow, and honestly, if it weren't for a fumble against Wet, where they were up, I believe it was 3-1 in the series, and then just kind of ended up throwing that series away, it's a whole... Yeah, it was. And I think they were even up in Game 5, 2-1, maybe 2-0, and they just couldn't hold on to it, and they allowed Wet to get on that roll. And so for Eclipse, I know they've been putting in the work. Zach has been pushing them super hard. Me and Dilly both very familiar with them, so Dilly can speak a little bit more on that. But this Eclipse team is going to come back even stronger with a couple of small roster changes.
Yeah, just piggybacking off what Tank said. I mean, what he said, I mean, that's all true. They definitely started coming together near the end of the season, and I really think we're going to see something different from this team, because they just, much like Trash, they were on separate pages throughout the whole time. So really, and especially knowing like a little bit behind the scenes, everything what Zach was trying to put together, and he's really is letting Electro take over the team. I believe Electro. So, but really, like it was kind of like just a conglomerate of people they put in there. I'm really excited to see what happens with this team. They got a lot of potential, and I think they're here to show it. So it's gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah, Poke coming in as well with a lot to show. The man love continuing to go around. We have to give some love to the other third, fourth place squad from the Spring Invitational, and that was Radiance Esports, who they started hot, then got cold, they got hot, then got cold, then got hot, then got cold, and it just... They ended off on a fairly high note. I know they wanted to be higher than that, but Tank, we always get to hear you with your man love. You got your crushes here in the booth with you, but also with that Michigan boy, Go Nate, and definitely always pulling for him. And with the heartstrings there, got that little bit of allegiance, but definitely a squad that I feel like they can make a lot of waves that a lot of teams just overlook.
Yeah, and for Radiance, I think the big thing going into this next season after getting on that good roll is they made a couple roster changes. Most notably, Sky is no longer with them. He's actually over with Ethos now, who sadly none of their teams ended up making the Invitational. So BBU remains the best dragon in IGL. Changed my mind. But for Radiance to make that change there, let's be honest, it really helps him out. Yes, Sky was a very explosive offensive player
on both ends,
but he also scored like 12 own goals. So taking away that offense, I mean, it's pretty much a net even at that point. And so adding a little bit more firepower on there is going to make them a very, very dangerous team throughout the entire season. And it'll be interesting to see how they grow and how Go Nate is able to kind of bring them all together as quick as they can with the changes they have made.
Yep, it is going to be interesting for sure. Sorry to cut you off a little bit there, Dilly. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I'm not too familiar with a couple of these players, but because obviously new roster changes, but I definitely agree. Like they were definitely a strong team, and they were resilient throughout the season. So I mean, there's no doubt they're gonna put up a fight, and they're gonna be a huge contender. So
I'm just laughing at our show doc right now. Is it's getting edited, and we just got a a mess up on one of the formulas, so I'm just giggling here. Is like we're following the script. You got us three up here. Like, come on now. But that just means that we have a little bit of delay, and I'm gonna throw it to the team that sucks here, but is definitely going to be thrown to Dilly first. Ended up going the 5th through 8th place. Best Buds United. Dilly, take it away.
Well, first off, whoever runs this Excel sheet, if you need help, I can help teach you Excel. Because apparently you don't know how to spell Best Buds United correct, and I find that offensive. So, anyways, I'm super stoked. I've already said that. I think this team, obviously, best dragon team out there, even if they are worms, as what Ethos has said. But no, it's going to be a great team. They have pretty much everybody came back, and they added an addition from Team Sonus. So
yes, I'm wearing the hat.
Yeah. So shout out to Owam. I think that's how you say it.
Yep.
But no, it's gonna be a good time. Yeah. I mean, they're honestly they came strong late in the season, and I mean, if it weren't for a few hiccups and just inexperience, I think sometimes they didn't show up when they needed to. I think they could be another huge contender. So, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I completely agree. Putting OAM on there and even Eevee on there with Millsy, Honestly Fun, and John Cave, like Honestly Fun and Millsy, even though they haven't played a lot together outside of this last invitational, felt like they've been playing Rocket League for years together. And having someone like OAM coming in who you can slot into that second, third man role and know you're going to get really consistent defensive play and assists out of him is going to make this team a lot more dangerous than they were last invitational. And I mean, they finished fifth through 8th, just missing out on that because they had a tough run towards the end where it just didn't click. But now having that extra player who's that much better and will elevate the rest of the team, man, they're going to be one of the ones that auto qualified that could be definitely higher than they finished last season.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that we can't discount with these squads that did get that auto bid. We'll talk a little bit more for those that ended up playing their way into the summer is, yes, they were top 8 from the spring, but that doesn't guarantee them anything here in the summer. And to see these roster changes, it's going to be super interesting to see how both of the two formats, those that made their way in and were able to watch and adjust, and those that played their way in and like, here's our roster, come and beat us, actually show up. But with that is the last squad that ended up getting in through those auto qualifiers is Galactic Gaming, with the little Galactic in the Whisperer. God, I love it. It's just
best logo in the invitational.
It gives me shudders. Best logo. Well, does that mean, Dilly, that you think they're going to be the best squad?
Best logo, best squad, look good, feel good, play good, right? That's how it works. So, no, I think they struggled. I think I remember they struggled early on in the invitational, but they really came together and they showed their true colors near the end. And they were, I mean, obviously, they made it to this invitational, so obviously pretty good, right? I think they're going to show the side that people haven't seen, and it's going to be really, really fun to watch them. I think it's going to be awesome. So.
Yeah, I would completely agree with that. They're a team that definitely surprised after like week 3, where there were a couple teams that we just thought weren't going to be able to have a good invitational, just needed to kind of figure things out going into the end, reload for next invitational, try and qualify. And invitational is like, no, man. Invitational. Galactic's like, no, man, just sit back. We're just getting in the roll of things. It's going to be perfectly fine, and we are going to show you what we are made of. And they started just playing absolutely lights out and surprised everybody in first round of playoffs to get that auto bid, and adding a couple new players. They have a couple new ones coming in from what I've seen tonight. And so they are ones who are taking this way serious, like they should be, and want to prove themselves as a top team and even possibly a team that can do things in quals for RLCS.
Yeah, and they didn't start off very well, but we always saw that potential from the beginning. It was just a matter of finishing those games. They started doing that late, so hopefully they've started to figure that out and can come in with that momentum that they gained at the end of the Spring Invitational and carry it into the summer. It is going to be a tall task with what is probably one of the favorites, if not the favorite, to win it all. And we're not, Dilly, if Tank starts to talk here, we're just going to talk over him. But it's none other than Origin Gaming with Lemon Puppy, Regional, and Bumpin', who ended up winning their way in with the closed qualifier championship, as well as they just won the Caster Clash, which happened this past weekend. So they are a fantastic team, and they are incredibly hot. And Tank, I guess I'll let you speak about them. But this squad, they're going to be dangerous.
Thanks for rooting him. We don't need to hear him anyway. So.
And I'm hearing from the producer that Tank is muted.
I'll speak for Tank.
Yeah, go ahead, Dilly.
So, I think Origin Gaming, I'm familiar with these names and I know what they've done so far. Obviously, they've showed their skill set, and I think they're going to be, I could honestly see them in the finals. They are lights out, a great team. They got everything that you want. So, hopefully that doesn't accept defense. I mean, that's honestly like half of these teams could improve on their defense. Like, I'm pretty sure I remember multiple games and multiple series of 10 plus kickoff goals and own goals, and it's just like, come on guys.
Yeah, not to mention jinxes and curses and multiple things like that. But I mean, we saw it in the closed qualifier, and we even saw it in the Caster Clash this last weekend. Origin is a very solid team. They have great offense, but their defensive rotations leave a lot to be desired. And yes, most people are going to count them as favorites, but any team that can slightly exploit bumping Lemon Puppy and getting him out of the way is going to force Regional and Bumpin' to play better defense, and that's where Origin starts to fall apart. And so, yes, odds-on favorites, but they need to shore up that defense if they want to take down this invitational. And if they don't, I wouldn't be surprised if they end up getting knocked out second round in playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw it in that closed qualifier. Even with these teams that are trying to play their way in, and teams that were in the Spring Invitational, they're still able to score in the squad, and they still have a lot left to be desired to be the odds-on front runner. There are a lot of strong teams here, and definitely something that we're looking forward to. Definitely looking forward to giving Tank crap for. So
all the time.
It's just it's a constant here, and now we have a legitimate reason. It's just a good time all around. The second place of that closed qualifier was Escape Velocity, and headed up by another one of our good buddies here, another community caster within the Indy Gaming League adder, but ESV getting that second closed qualifying spot, and a squad that we've seen do really well at times, but Tank, again, at times, they look really susceptible to their own demise.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it in the closed qualifier. Like, if you didn't get to see it, they were taking Origin to the limit. They were even up 3-1, and I believe it was a deciding game, and threw it in 30 seconds. So defense, really the thing that's hurting a lot of these top tier teams that we want to see make it to finals and semifinals. But if they don't shore it up, it's going to end up hurting them. And we saw it in previous invitationals when they were under the remove the crossbar moniker. They had defensive problems as well. And so as good as this Escape Velocity team is and Origin is, the biggest things with them is your defense going to show up, or are you just going to try and rely on dominating the offensive half?
Yeah, not to mention, I mean, they got a player with Dill in the name, so obviously I'm going to back them. I think they're going to be an amazing team, and that's pretty much it. So,
if you're not over there eating dill pickles right now, then your point is moot.
Yeah, and you're wrong. So get on that.
I'm never wrong, and thank you for being our guest. Goodbye, Dilly. No, they are, we've seen them for a long time around here from IGL, and like Tank said, with that, their prior name removed the crossbar in tier 1 across the board, and just taking teams down time and time again. But then all of a sudden you look up and they went 2-4 for a circuit, and we're like, what happened? So super excited to see the work that they've put in, and how well they can do here come the Summer Invitational. The third place and fourth place from the closed qualifiers. So I guess we did play those out, so that's not 3 and 4. But the third place, Irate Esports, and Tank. Prior to the closed qualifier itself, I was not familiar with this squad, but they're one that I am going to be watching very closely, as they played lights out to make it all the way to third.
Yeah, and I mean, if you have anyone with the name Old Dirty, they're going to be a good team, right? And
Old
Luigi.
Dirty.
Luigi, the budget Mario brother. But in all honesty, yeah, Irate, and we're going to talk about them a little bit later. Team Ignis, 2 teams that really surprised me in the closed qualifiers, coming in strong, and for them, they just played solid all the way around. I think their goal against were low 1 points, I think is what it was. They weren't giving up a lot. They were just playing really consistent, and they kept low scoring games. And for those teams that you don't know a lot about, that's when they're their most dangerous, is when you're in those 2-1, 3-2 games, 1-0 games, because they'll turtle down and just play solid defense and wait for you to make one mistake, like we're seeing out of some of the top teams who think they can just overrun them with offense. And then they end up stealing some series, stealing some games, and now they're here in the Invitational.
Dilly, is this, like I said, Tank and I weren't familiar. Is this, because you get around without context, is this a squad that you've seen around, that you guys have scrimmed with? Where are you at with this Irate squad?
I have not. I saw them in the in the quals, but I did not. I didn't follow. I haven't heard of them much, but other than having an amazing names like Trix and Luigi, and the fact that they're going to clamp down on the competition, I think they're going to be a great team to watch. It's always fun to see the new teams, right? Also, Clamp does the joke there. But.
Oh no, we got it. You are the modern state of puns here. We got it.
I'll see myself out. It's fine.
With that, let's just move right on to the fourth place of the closed quals. He slid out. That was awesome. Was Circuitry Gaming, which we've seen Circuitry here in IGL for a long time, and we've seen them dabble with Rocket League and dabble with Valorant and put some teams that go really far. Day 2, almost making day 3, and pretty constant. But this squad and these players aren't the ones that I typically seen up with the Circuitry, but they came together and Tank, they played, I don't want to say above their skill level, but they surprised me.
I mean, they definitely played above what they did last Invitational. So this was the MPG roster that won their way into the Invitational last circuit with that MPG Invitational Showdown, and they just didn't continue on with MPG. Circuitry picks them up. They add a new player, Nautical, and they played lights out. But like we talked about all last season, it depends on if Dexter actually plays or not. He was able to play the closed quals, and we got to see the talent when that entire team is playing together. And for the Invitational, that's what it's going to come down to. If they can keep those consistent 3 and play week in, week out, we can expect to see them finish in the top half of the Invitational, but they start doing those roster shuffles is where they start to slip a bit. And so I think having such a good showing in the closed quals is going to really make them focus in to be there week in, week out. But I don't know, Dilly can shed a little bit more light because BB, you had to play him a few different times.
Yeah, we have. I mean, they're a great team. They're a great group, and like you said, like putting Dexter in there, like sometimes you just have that key to unlock the whole team, right? And having the right group play together is really going to bring out all the talent and all the chemistry and all that offensive pressure and the ability to overtake the opponent. So really, I mean, I'm excited to watch them as a team. I know Dexter and Wavy, I've been following them a little bit. Adapt RL. I think they're going to be a really great team to watch. And yeah, I mean, again, this is another team that I think is going to surprise some people. So it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, and again, this was the MPG squad from the Spring Invitational. And Tank said, hey, they're the reason why they're the one playing under that MPG flag. And we kept picking them. They kept letting us down. Not as much as Team Sonus did. And we'll get to that. But they kept letting us down. And so I'm super, super excited to see the fact that they played their way in, and hopefully that does carry their momentum. It gives them a good boost of confidence and start taking some names down, because the way that it ended for them come the spring, you got to believe that some teams are overlooking this roster. Camo said, listen, I'm rocking Team Sonus, Camo, all right? Just don't. No. But moving on with the closed qualifiers as well, making their way in, excuse me, making that 5th place spot is Aspire Entertainment. Now, we have seen Aspire, for those of you who are frequenting the Caster Clash, especially the Valorant side. Aspire has one absolutely insane Valorant squad, now getting here with the IGL Invitational with their Rocket League squad, and just showing that they are an organization, not just IGL, but an organization and a franchise that has the tools, has the capability, and is ready to start taking down people. And Tank, starting here week number 1, they're going to come fired up.
Yeah, I mean, and to make it here, they had to have a lower bracket run, right? So they dropped in the closed qualifiers to Origin 2-0, Origin Gaming 2. Or no, that was Origin 2-0. Yep. And then in the lowers, they had to run through MPG, Blind Fire, and Team Sonus to get there. And all best of 1. So it's not like they had series where they could make adjustments, get adapted to it. They just had to play lights out, and they were able to run through a very tough gauntlet before running into Irate. And so they're a team that I will be interested to watch as this goes on, because I don't know a lot about it other than the Cheez-Its are amazing, because let's be honest, they really are. A little bit of milk, handful of Cheez-Its, excellent. But they have a huge name behind them, so they're going to be getting coaching, they're going to be getting managing, they're going to be getting their scrims, they are going to be ready for this invitational. And I think the big thing we haven't talked about yet is there's actually a prize pool this year. So there is a lot more on the line than there has ever been, and that is going to bring out the best in these teams. And to have someone like Aspire backing you is absolutely amazing, because they're going to put in the time, they're going to put in the work, and they're going to put in the effort to come out and show that they deserve to be one of the finalists to get a part of that.
Yeah, and Aspire Entertainment, so their logo is a dragon, right? Am I wrong?
I'm gonna say you're wrong, but I think you're right.
It doesn't look like a logo. It doesn't look like a dragon. This is gonna be a problem.
I think you are the problem. Is I think the issue.
So first, for y'all don't know, BBU is playing Aspire Entertainment tomorrow, and
we will get. Stop looking ahead. We will get there when we get there.
Spoilers.
All right, fine. Here, rewind it back like in the last 15 seconds it happened. Okay, my bad. Okay, I saw the dragon and I saw red. Okay. Okay. Let's go to the other half. So Cheez-Its. What's our favorite Cheez-Its real quick? Let's talk about that.
Yes.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. It has to be the handful, because there's no S. It's Cheez-It. There's no S. So.
Oh, so it's like that. It's like that big Cheez-It tostada that I've been hearing about.
Oh.
I want to try that. That looks good.
I know, right, man? Combines my two favorite things: Cheez-Its and Mexican food. Like,
sounds like we're gonna close down the stream and we'll meet you at Taco Bell or wherever the heck that is.
Not sponsored. Yeah.
Well, we make sure that you set the fire on that and get it cooking, because we have Team Ignis coming up as well in the closed qualifiers. And, you know, again, I don't want this to sound like, you know, I'm ragging on them, because I'm not. They played incredibly well. Obviously, they played their way in, but a squad that I was rather surprised at how well they played and made their way in and looked fantastic doing so. And Tank, correct me if I'm wrong, but if I had that feeling, you got to believe that some other teams are going to be looking at them like, oh, this is going to be a free win. And it's a team that you cannot count out. There's a reason they are here in the Summer Invitational.
yeah, and I mean, yes, they had a good win against Team Sonus round 1. I believe that was a 2-1 series, and each game was a 1-goal game. They dropped to Irate, getting swept, but then they had to run through Ethos, Rbg Claw before finally losing to Circuitry. And so, much like Aspire and Irate, coming in as relative unknowns, but definitely making a strong name for themselves just in the closed qualifiers. But with those teams that just snuck in from the close that are newer, this first week is going to be really, really big for them to make a statement, because this is a modified Swiss. And so after this first week, if they don't get a strong win and they're playing a little bit more towards the bottoms, I don't think we're ever going to see that true potential. And so I want to see them come out with a huge win in week 1. So week 2, they're playing some of the best teams in the Invitational, where they can be tested pretty soon. I lost the stupid fire pun I had.
Wow.
You were trying to follow mine up, and you lost it.
I did.
I was getting so hyped over here, and then you just.
I was so ready, and then I saw Dilly's beautiful face on my screen, and I just got lost.
Oh, you're welcome, by the way.
Thanks.
Hey, producer, can we get some dreamy music playing in the background anytime those two are talking? Just have them stare into each other.
Very white going.
Oh my goodness! But I'll tell you what, the teams that had some Barry White playing with their fortune, 2 teams that final squeaky and there's others we're gonna get to, but it's just how our producer wrote this up. So blame him if you don't like this order. But squeaky on their way in, Team Sonus. So I'm here rocking the hat with Camo, Pato, Blake, and Scorpion. They were originally knocked out of the closed qualifier, but due to Team Minimal, unfortunately, having to back out of their automatic bid, where was a final game where they played against Rbg Claw and ended up winning that best of 5 to be able to gain the spot back into the Invitational. And Tank, I touched on it a little bit earlier, a team that we kept picking and they kept letting us down. Where's your faith after them being able to play back in?
I have a little faith. There's a little. I think they'll do as good as last season. The hard part is they're so streaky, right? Like scrims, they look amazing. Quals, they look great until they fall just randomly, and it wasn't even a close fall either. And then they have to bounce back against Rbg, which in all honesty, I was expecting them to lose that series, even with Rbg making the roster change last minute. They come out, have a 3-1 win, and it's like, okay, they might be back. But now they've had a long break, and I feel like it's just setting up for more heartbreak every time I pick them.
It's definitely a tough one, and it's one that Dilly, you stole one of the players here, so it's a little bit.
Auto fan. I was gonna say I think Team Sonus, they're actually, like, I'll have to agree with Tank to an extent. They are streaky. I do think they have a ton of potential. They just have to put it all together. And, you know, Autofan, by having, you know, Awam come over, like, love the team. I mean, I know Camo pretty well. Him and I go way back. But I think they have a great team. I think they can really do something well. They just have to put it together. They have to put in the work, put in the hours, take what's theirs, and you know, just make it happen. So
I've been waiting all pre-show for that.
yeah, that literally just rolled off my tongue, and I was like, it's happening.
And we're going with it.
Oh, by the way, you know, Rock's energy drink, that's what made me do it. So, you know.
No, it's sponsored, not sponsored, indeed. But there he goes. There he goes. But no, definitely going to be a ton of fun watching him. And again, like Tank said, you know, knocking out Rbg Claw from making their way back in, and Rbg Claw then playing in the open qualifiers and not making it in either. So, you know, tough break for Rbg Claw with the Luxdrew and Gag and having to find a new third since Jared Ace had left the team. But then they were resurrected back from the dead, and they are in as, unfortunately, Who Crew had to vacate their spot, and that will put them here in the Summer Invitational with a couple of new faces and now having a little bit of time to be able to have that chemistry and have that teamwork really starting to show, as we have to give a lot of love to Deluxe Drew coming in with the subscription as well earlier in this pre-show. But Tank, you know, I know you and I, we've dealt with this team a lot and have much love to these boys, but it's going to be interesting with a couple of different faces there.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm super excited that Rbg Claw made it in. As sad as I am that I don't get to mispronounce J-Hand as Jahan for the entire circuit, as he called us out for, I get to mispronounce Carito all season long, and I am so excited. It is such a fun name to say. And in all honesty, even slotting him in and watching him play the final match between Team Sonus and Rbg Claw, you could tell there is something special brewing with that team. They just didn't have enough time to get that chemistry together, and now having this long break where they're grinding, they're knocked out, they're pulled back in, they're knocked out, they're pulled back in. It's like RBG has Cinderella written all over them this circuit.
Oh yeah, definitely. And you know, a personal shout out to RBG. Them and I go way back. So, you know, at least my crew and them, I've known them for years now, and I've seen them come up the ranks, and you know, they just have so much natural chemistry. Like, they just know where everybody is at all times, and I think they really can show off who they are this circuit. And you know, it's sad to see Jared Ace go, but you know, it happens. But no, I am super stoked to see this team, and I'm excited to see what they can bring to the table. So
yeah, no doubt. It is going to be a ton of fun to watch them and to see, again, having that time and seeing it live on the pitch, that chemistry grow. And that was always a calling card of Rbg Claw. Of you never saw them double commit or triple commit. They were always in sync with one another and able to get that really flowing and have that great game sense. Unlike the next team here on our list that somehow ended up winning the open quals. That pissed me off. There's no reason this team should be in the freaking Invitational the way they play, but they're so much fun to watch. It is Origin Gaming 2 with Poke, Toast, and Hertz, and the most unorthodox BS should never work. Everybody's jumping for the ball at any time. The ball's in air. They're like a bunch of freaking seagulls from Finding Nemo. Mine, just all three flying, and somehow they win. Tank, please explain it to me.
Fun fact, I can unmute myself. I just found out. Yes, I was muted again. But yeah, in all honesty, we were casting this, and every game we're just like, well, this isn't going to work. All three are up, and then they get like a double flip reset pinch off of each other. And I'm like, seriously, like, this has to end at some point, and it just didn't. And as frustrating as it is to watch their gameplay, it is so much fun because you know they are just having a good time. And I mean, we've seen Poke and Toast in the Invitational before. Hertz is new to the team, not new to IGL. He's played there multiple times. And no matter what happens with Origin 2, you know going into it, it's just going to be a fun time. And I mean, Dilly knows he's played with Poke and Toast almost as much as I have.
Yeah, they're a great team. And, you know, I love Pokey. Toast, he's the most interesting fella I know. It's going to be fun to watch them, and we'll see what happens. That's all I can say.
Yeah, that's
have the same feeling the rest of us do.
Very eloquently put, and we all agree. We will see what happens. Poke claiming that they have correct rotation. Listen, I haven't seen it. I don't believe you. Prove me wrong. But moving on to the final team who made it into the Summer Invitational, getting the runner-up spot in the Open qualification is New Horizons with a new team name, but take some names that we've seen around IGL and around the Invitational before.
I mean, yeah, we've seen them for what, a year and a half, 2 years, it feels like. They were under MPG for the longest time, kind of disappeared, at least from my radar, last circuit, and they are back and looking stronger than ever with Racing, Corky, and World. And these guys are some of the nicest people you'll ever meet, and their Rocket League talent is just as good. They are phenomenal. They've been playing together for so long. They really don't need comms because they just know where each other's at. And in all honesty, if they didn't have to run in the finals, I would have been interested to see how it went against Origin Gaming 2 in the rematch, because they had a pretty good first series against them. Yeah, didn't end up winning it, but this New Horizons team is one of my favorites coming into this Invitational.
Yeah, I would agree. I haven't seen them too much, but I have seen them on the pitch, especially in the quals. So I'm definitely excited to see them. I mean, it's always nice to see, like, you know, the underdog, but you know, it's gonna be fun.
It's going to be fun indeed. And those are your 16 teams here for the Invitational. Again, a quick run through: Wet Esports, Trash Esports, Eclipse Esports, Radiance Esports. Finding a trend? Guess who screws it up? Best Buds United, Galactic Gaming, Origin Gaming, Escape Velocity, Irate Esports, Circuitry Gaming, Aspire Entertainment, Team Ignis, Team Sonus, Rbg Claw, Origin Gaming 2, and New Horizons. Now, as Tank mentioned prior, there is a prize pool for the Summer Invitational. There is cash money on the line, so you know we are going to be getting these teams' best night in and night out. And before we get to those matchups and picks, none of this would be possible without League OS powering us on the back end for this Invitational. So have to give a huge shout out to League OS, especially Marty and Joel, with all the work they have put in to be able to get this up and running here with the Indy Gaming League Summer Invitational 2022. Huge shout out. Thank you, guys. I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do here with this Invitational go around. Moving on to the picks. And Dilly, since you are our special guest, we are going to be picking. We are going to have you pick first. And Tank and I, we are going to be doing this every week, as mentioned. It's going to be on Tuesdays. We're going to be trying to get a special guest on every single week. And we will see which special guest ends up doing best, and will our guests be able to defeat Tank and I, since we had to kick Hybrid out since he got last by a far no Hybrid is doing other things, and much love working with him. He's over with Meta Power doing great things, so unfortunately does not have the time, and he doesn't want to spend it with us because we make him look bad. But we will be continuing the picks here, and starting off, since none of you heard about this earlier in the night, the very first match on stream starting tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern is Best Buds United versus Aspire Entertainment. And Dilly, who you going with?
I mean, as being extremely unbiased towards each team and really seeing that, both teams have a lot of skill and a lot of potential here. I'm gonna have to go with Best Buds United. Like it's a no-brainer. They're amazing. They got the best dragon. No, I think it's gonna be a really good game. I haven't seen too much of Aspire, but like y'all have said, and we'll be hyped early about them. It's gonna be a really great match. I'm excited to see it. So, and I'm gonna have to, now that I see Aspire has a dragon, I'm gonna have to go back to Millsy, tell him to stop own goaling, go talk to the boys, and tell them they need to step it up because we need to have the dragon throne in IGL.
Are you the best person to tell people to not own goal?
We're not going to talk about that.
It does not matter.
I find that offensive. Okay. Yeah. So, no. But yeah, Best Buds United. Best Buds United.
The Tank, are you going to have a team to play on this summer circuit with IGL, or are you going with BBU?
I'm going with BBU. It feels like every time I look over at the BBU Discord, that team is grinding. They are playing, they are putting in the time and effort, and it's more than I've seen a lot of teams do in the past. And I think that's because I think Millsy and honestly Fun took their finishing of the last Invitational to heart. They were very, very disappointed in what they ended up doing, and they want to make a change here and give BBU a chance to finish in the top 4 and be considered one of the best ones, one of the best long-standing orgs around. And adding OWAM to roster gives them that opportunity, and I think we're going to see a wonderful showing from them tomorrow night.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on BBU as well. And again, I think a lot of it just comes down to, like you said, that team wants to continue to grind, continue to improve, and you see the roster change, adding new blood in there really revitalizes teams. And even though I haven't seen and been a part of their communication, that's something that really, really shows how much they want this invitational and expecting them to start off hot. Also at 8 o'clock, not on stream. And when I say not on stream, for those of you playing the home game, that means those matches here on the Indy Gaming League channel. They may be streamed elsewhere. We are just not aware of them yet. So this one is not going to be on the IGL channel. But also at 8 o'clock is Galactic Gaming versus Circuitry Gaming. And Dilly, where you at with this one?
As I said before, look good, feel good, play good. I think Galactic Gaming is going to take this one. I think both teams, in their own right, have a lot of they have a lot of skill, right? And I think it's going to come down. It's probably going to be in Game 5. I think they're going to take it in Game 5. It's best of 5, right? Throughout the season still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I think they're going to take it in Game 5. So. But looking back at the last Invitational, I mean, like I said, they started really sprouting near the end, and I think they're really gonna, they took the off season. I'm pretty sure they probably, I know their mindset. I know they're gonna be putting in the work to try to get there. So, yeah, so that's my pick.
Tank?
I knew you were gonna go to me next. I mean, okay, so you got Circuitry Gaming.
I'll go if you want me to.
You got Circuitry Gaming. You got Galactic Gaming. What is the abbreviation for Circuitry Gaming? CG. Who is CG? He is a player for Trash.
He's on Trash.
What is Trash
your
do?
They
win. Circuitry Gaming is winning. CG getting a dub.
I love this analogy.
As soon as you said, I knew where you were going with it. So word for word. Oh my goodness, this is why we can't have nice things, and this is why I'm going with Galactic Gaming. And I think it's going to be a no, you don't. You have Tank on your team. So
true.
I mean, that's what I was.
Yeah, you apparently you don't have a mirror in your house. I was talking about you. Galactic Gaming, they started to really put it together. And I think this offseason allowing them to continue to grind will get them the start that they oh so desperately wanted in the spring, and being able to just hang on to the end. I think now they're gonna know, okay, we cannot take this one light at all. And they're going to be able to pull out on top of that Circuitry Gaming, that, you know, that roster I kept picking, and they're one of the reasons why I kept losing games in the spring.
I forgot to preface that. If Dexter plays, CG wins. Let me just keep with tradition here.
It's true. But next up at 9 o'clock, going to be off of stream at 9 p.m. Eastern, is Eclipse Esports versus Team Sonus. And again, Eclipse coming on incredibly hot, in Team Sonus making it in by just a squeaky margin. So, Dilly, you sticking with the ones that auto-qualified or the ones that have to play their way in?
I think this is going to be a really good test for Team Sonus to see where they fit in the mold in this league. So, I mean, with that, I just have to go with Eclipse. I think they have it all together. They have what they need to win, and I think it's going to be a big test. But I don't think Team Sonus, unless they surprise us, which they can, I don't think they come out of the gate, and I don't think they're going to be able to overtake what Eclipse has built up over the last few months. So on this one, my pick's going to be Eclipse Esports.
Seeger,
do you want me to go?
Yep.
Do you want me to go?
I already know your answer, but yes.
Don't be so sure. No. So this Team Sonus squad coming in and having that roster change. here's my concern with them, which might be a good thing for them, is I haven't seen them scrim a whole heck of a lot the last few days, and I have a feeling they're going to come in slightly rusty, and this Eclipse Esports squad is not. And I think Eclipse is going to come out and punch Team Sonus in the face, and this is going to be an Eclipse win off the get-go, as Team Sonus I don't think is quite ready for this Eclipse squad.
You can't hear the producer in our ear, but Team
Newsflash.
Team Sonus is scrimming right now. Excellent. Hey Seeger, you want to change your statement?
Nope.
Are you still good? I
no.
see how red you are. I see you.
That is fantastic. For the record, yeah, I'm over here dying. Like, seriously, they're scrimming right now. Who are they? Who are they scrimming?
Imagine having a Team Sonus hat, not knowing when your team is scrimming.
Yeah, well, see, here's no. We just got an update, so now the producer's wrong. They are not scrimming. They are playing in a tournament. So now we're getting lied to by the producer.
Who's your pick?
Not the producer. How about that?
Fair enough. Hashtag blame cookies.
Hashtag blame cookies. Eclipse wins. No, Eclipse, go ahead.
Oh, I picked Eclipse too.
Okay.
I have faith in what Zach and Electro can do with that team. And I mean, outside of they had one forfeit win because the roster was too full last circuit, they're a very, very good team. And they were on the verge of being in the finals if they didn't throw game 5. So I think they're going to come back and they're going to try and prove that they are the better team this circuit, and they are going to start out hot against Team Sonus.
Yep. Absolutely. Another 9 o'clock match. Radiance Esports versus Team Ignis. And Dilly, I know you talked a little bit about Radiance. You've seen them all around. And this Team Ignis squad coming in the closed qualifiers. Where are you standing?
I mean, I think obviously Radiance we didn't really get to see too much because they auto-qualled. But I think that it's going to be I'd say game 4 win by Team Ignis. I think they're going to come out. I think they got a chip on their shoulder. They're going to want to get it. And I think they're going to take it, especially if Unicorn are RL on their team. Only because I like unicorns. No, really. No, I think they're going to be a great. I think it's going to be a great match, but I'm going to be selecting Team Ignis for this one.
Team Ignis over there because he likes the unicorns. Makes sense why Tank is on your team. Again, I'm learning so much about you.
Hey,
I'm a
it
unicorn.
works, okay? It just works.
It just works until it doesn't. And speaking of working until it doesn't, is Radiance Esports, and they work until they don't. And there's such... We talk about how streaky Team Sonus is. Radiance Esports is that way, but like weeks at a time. But they always seem to find a way early to start off very, very well. And then it seems to dip. It seems like they get overconfident. But here early, they've got to be a clean early pick. And I'm going to go with them here in week number 1, night number 1 over Team Ignis.
I'm really torn on this pick. And I know we gave Sky a lot of grief last circuit because of his one game we saw where he had 7 of the 8 goals scored in the game for both teams. But he really was the key to Radiance's pretty much overall run after like week 2 when he started to click. And so trying to fill that void for Radiance is a really, really tough ask. And for Team Ignis, I mean, you have Unicorn and Gorilla playing, 2 of the greatest sites to think about. I'm gonna side with Seeger on this one. I think Radiance is going to come away with this one, but I think it's going to be a really close game 5.
Yeah, it would not surprise me if Team Ignis wins that one. I really wouldn't. It is going to be close, and it's going to be a ton of fun to watch. But the one that you guys will be able to watch here on this channel at 9 o'clock Eastern is Trash Esports versus Origin Gaming 2. And this is going to be a fun one for Tank to pick. But Dilly, again, we'll start with you. Where are you at with this one?
This is going to be a really fun match to watch. I honestly, this is one of the, I mean, the lineup the first night is amazing. I mean, you start off with the best team ever, Best Buds United. No, with Trash and Origin.
You notice nobody went with that, for the record.
I know. Yeah, no, it's fine. I just started to, and no, I think Trash versus Origin trolling is what we should be calling them. But I think it's going to go to a game 4. I think both teams, we know Trash, they're consistent, they're great, especially when they put in the time together. Origin Gaming, I mean, I know who they are. Obviously, they are the Open Qual champion. But until I see something from them, actually up against one of the top teams, until I see them dethrone somebody, I'm taking Trash, and I'm taking Trash in 4.
Hank, you ride or die, or are you getting kicked out of a Discord?
I am Switzerland.
and just like Switzerland, yeah,
I don't have to choose.
No.
I can't get kicked out of Trash Esports Discord because I'm not in that Discord.
That's what I mean. You gonna be right? You gonna be right and die and get kicked out?
So this is a really tough match for me because I love both of these teams. The only reason I'm picking the team I'm going with is
that he's stalling to pick.
All right, so I'm going to go with Origin Gaming 2. As hard as it's for me to say. And the reason I'm going with Origin Gaming 2 is last time Poke was on the field against Trash, he threw the finals match against Trash. In game 7,
True.
He threw. And he wants revenge for that. He still talks about it.
Does he?
He still talks about throwing that bracket reset and then losing game 7. No, Poke. No, this is what you get. And I said I was ride or die for Trash until they lost the finals. They did. And Poke is kind of technically my boss. So no, I think with this one, Toast and Hertz have been grinding super hard. Hertz is on Audacity, who had a great showing in this last caster clash. Toast has been putting up insane rank grinds. And so I think that I think Origin's going to take this one. And in my defense, Trash always starts out slow. Even Tuck will admit that.
Yeah, it's true. That is fact. Trash does start out. And now here's my concern with Origin in this specific matchup. Aside from the fact that I hate the fact that they're able to win with the way that they played, but when they tend to get too hyped up, then you're seeing mistakes on top of their erratic play. And we saw that last time. And yes, could Sarge have saved that ball? Potentially. Could you guys have not played 13 games to get to that point? 100%. So, when that amp, I've yet to see this Origin squad play when the tempo, the amplitude, the stakes go way up. And even though this is week number 1, there is bad blood between these two teams. Not that they hate each other, but how it ended last time. I think Trash is going to be able to pull it out. Prove me wrong, folks. Moving on to the 10 o'clock matches, going to be off stream is Rbg Claw versus Irate Esports. And Dilly, I know that you dropped one game the whole qualifiers because you didn't play the finals. I know that you know the Rbg squad very, very well. In this Irate squad, they kind of came out of nowhere and started throwing their weight around on us. But Rbg Claw getting in the skin of the teeth. Where are you sitting on this one?
This is going to be a really good matchup. It's easily going to go it's going to be going to game 5, possibly OT. Calling it now, OT game 5. This is going to be a really great match. You have two teams trying to prove themselves, right? And I think Irate is going to come out with the win. I think RBG, I love them. I think they're a great team. I just have a feeling. I don't know. I have a feeling that Irate's going to pull it through. So it's going to be a good match. So,
Thank.
I'm laughing at Poke's statement because that's literally what Toast said.
God, you got him going in the chat. I didn't even see.
I know.
That.
I got him all fired up.
Somebody call him.
So this is another really tough one to pick. I'm glad that we are already having these tough matches to pick in week 1, because it didn't feel like this at the beginning of the or at the beginning of the Invitational last season, and so I'm gonna go with Rbg Claw. We know what they have been in the past. We know what they're doing now. Deluxe Drew's on day like 3,000 of his nonstop streams, but I think adding those two players to Rbg Claw, now that they're getting some reps underneath them, makes them a stronger team than when Jared Ace was on there, and I never thought those words would leave my mouth.
Yeah, it is definitely going to be interesting for sure. But I tell you what, this Irate, they came firing, they were able, and how can you not pick a squad that has on a whole dirty on their team? Like that is it's absolutely Poke, you know how. Sorry, I'm getting DMs. Yeah, shoot, but no, it is going to be Irate Esports coming out swinging. It pains me to not go with Rbg Claw because I absolutely love them, but I tell you this, Irate, they made me a believer in that close qualifier, and I'm super, super stoked to see them out on the pitch from the Invitational. Also going to be off stream at 10 o'clock is Origin Gaming and Escape Velocity, and this is the Origin Gaming #1 squad that took down the Escape Velocity in the closed qualifier championship. So we already get this rematch here in week #1. And Dilly, are they going to be able to take them? Are they going to be able to get revenge, or do the champions continue?
I mean, I think this is awesome to see a rematch, especially from the end of the closed quals. So this is going to be a super fun match. And I mean, Escape Velocity is definitely looking. They're going to be out for blood on this one. They're going to be wanting to show the world what kind of team they are. But I mean, Origin Gaming, they just played so well, and you know, I think that it's going to be hard to bet against them, especially from what we saw at the beginning, or you know, through the closed quals. So I'm going to have to go with Origin Gaming on this one, despite, you know, this isn't me siding with Tank anybody. You know, if I could, I would say no, but I want to win, so I'm going to have to go with Origin on this one. So
Tank, I don't want to speak for you, but I'm going to make the assumption that you're going with Origin.
Yeah. I mean, I'll keep it short. I think they're a very good team. I think playing in the caster clashes month in, month out. I hate you, Dilly.
Hey, bro, can you hear him at all?
I listen. I sure as heck can't hear him. So
okay. I was gonna see if his mouth moving. Okay.
Listen. Normally it's me that's muted. I'm happy that it's somebody else tonight.
Okay, that's good.
Fine. It's fine, Dilly. It's fine, Dilly. That's weird. Our IGL match this week's about to get thrown. Interesting.
I don't think he'll notice any difference in gameplay. Yeah. Oh, I mean, looks like we lost Tank. Sorry.
No.
So I would. Oh, dang.
Oh no! Please don't go.
Shoot, this is why we have so much fun here, and why we love each and every one of you out there enjoying this with us. But I'll go ahead and finish what Tank was saying. Yes, Escape Velocity is a very good squad, but Origin Gaming coming in fresh, not having that tournament, is also an incredibly deadly squad right off the get-go, and they are going to be incredibly tough to beat, and I think they're going to come out and want to prove a point in the Invitational and set off with a statement game here in week number 1. I think they will continue their winning ways on Tuesday. Picking on Tank is not savage. It is not savage.
No, that's pretty par for the course.
He deserves every bit of it. He signed up for this, so it is what it is. But the final matchup at 10 o'clock on Tuesday, that would be tomorrow Tuesday, is the defending champion Wet Esports versus New Horizons, the final squad to get in out of the 2 qualifiers. And Dilly, can you really pick against the defending champs?
It's kind of hard to, you know. I mean, they definitely showed what they're about last season, and you know, they won it all, right? But I will say this is one of, like, if out of the matches, this is one of the top matches to watch, because you're seeing what we had and what we're getting now, especially because, you know, the open qual, right? There's anybody can, any trio can go into the open qual, right? So you're really seeing the best of the best, and I'm really excited to see this match. And yeah, but it's hard to bet against Wet. You know, like I said, until I see it, I can't go against it. And I mean, Wet showed up all last season, so gonna go with Wet on this one. I'm gonna get wet.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, Wet Esports, and I feel like that was Tank speaking there, talking about trash last circuit. Until I see it, I can't pick against Wet. So I think we're all gonna get wet together. We're just kind of a wet party. Tank?
Yep. Let's all just get wet.
Okay.
God, this feels so weird to say.
Look, Dilly's already getting wet. He can't even take a drink. Oh my goodness. But that is our lineup for Tuesday. The Thursday night matches at 8 p.m. Yep, that just came through. The 8 p.m. match on stream is Eclipse Esports. It's just a shame that he doesn't have longer hair. Like, that would just make things amazing.
I know.
Is Eclipse?
I have things prohibiting me from doing that, unfortunately. So
Eclipse
Organizations are
Esports
worth it.
versus, we're moving on from your wetness to Circuitry Gaming. That is going to be on stream at 8 o'clock, and now we can go back to your wetness. Thankfully, you don't have to get wet about this match since you're already wet. We are taking bets on how many times I can say wet. But Dilly, Eclipse, Circuitry, Thursday night, where you at?
I'm gonna take Eclipse on this. I think Eclipse, like I've said, it's time and time again. I think they're a great org, they're a great team. Circuitry Gaming, they've definitely showed up, especially in the close quals. But got to go with what I know. So it's going to be a close one. I think it's going to be a close one. I think it's any team's game. If Eclipse doesn't throw, I think they can take it. But but I'm going to go with Eclipse officially. Yeah.
Tank, but before you and I pick, is Dexter playing?
I have no idea.
Okay, so I'm at Eclipse. How about you?
I am as well. Eclipse is another one of those teams. They're really going to be hard to pick against until they lose. Because once they lose one, they seem to go on a little bit of a streak. And so, but I mean, we saw how good they played last season. We're going to see how good they're going to play week 1 when they take on Team Sonus. And so I think they're going to continue and start the week out 2-0.
Yeah. Yep, it is. It's going to be a ton of fun to see them, especially the second matches of this week. How do teams adapt? How do they change? But speaking of adapting and changing, I feel like we're not going to get a change in the pick. But New Horizons versus BBU. This is a 9 o'clock matchup. And Dilly, again, I'm not expecting you to switch who you're picking. But tell us a little bit why.
Well, first off, that was a bad idea to pour that water on me because I have an AC vent right above me, and I'm like shivering a little bit right now. So
you're shivering that BBU is going to lose this one. Okay.
Yes, I am shaking. I am shaking because I think BBU is going to throw. Especially if Millsy's playing, he's going to own goal a couple times. So no, I mean, it's hard to bet against. I don't know. I'm trying to be unbiased, but at the same time, I haven't seen too much of New Horizons. I'm a little aware of them, but I got to go with the boys on this one. So, BBU.
Thanks.
I was hoping you'd go first because I was still trying to decide.
I know. I'll go. All
right, that's great. I need like 3 more minutes to figure it out.
Okay, BBU, Tank.
You bastard. I would, as much as I love New Horizons and I think they're going to have a really good season, their first 2 matchups in the Swiss style are really, really tough. And I'm going to go with BBU this first time. It might be different when they get together later in the season, but I think BBU, their roster changes are going to be a powerhouse.
Hey, real quick, what we practiced before this started, everybody, give me a high five. Thank you.
I think I went the right way. I don't even know. Yeah, so all on the BBU train there. Now that we've all been on the train, are we all gonna get wet together? Oh, Tank. You didn't double. You left me hanging.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know if you did it or not, but I did. Wet Esports versus Team Sonus. And Dilly, you gonna be pouring that water over yourself again?
You won't.
Oh, wow, okay. Here we go.
No.
I don't have to say anything. No words. Oh, that was a lot.
Dilly, a man for the people.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's my pick. I expect nothing less from you gentlemen here, by the way.
Well, then I am not picking wet the rest of the season.
Yeah, no kidding. Especially the fact that I'm not pouring Mountain Dew over myself, because that's what I have right now next to me. Oh my goodness.
My wife would kill me if I poured water on the new headset she just got me.
Tank.
It's true.
Tank.
What?
Tank.
What?
Do it.
No. But yeah, I'm gonna go Team Wet as well. Especially playing Sonus. I don't think I need to say more.
Right, and again, this is nothing against Sonus. This is everything for Wet. What they showed undefeated last Invitational, coming in and absolutely playing lights out. They are the team to beat. They have the bullseye on their back, and week number 1, I think they're going to be able to perform. On stream, 9 o'clock matchup Thursday, Irate Esports versus Radiance Esports. Now, Dilly, you were not on the Irate train on Tuesday. Are you going with them here on Thursday?
Unfortunately, in this match, I mean, again, I think, it's hard. It's really hard to judge a lot of these teams when we've only seen so much so far. But
I think you pick him just because it's a dragon.
Tempting, but I'm gonna go with Radiance Esports on this. I just think they have the chemistry, and they have the ability to hold their stake in their spot. So yeah, Radiance. God, it's so cold.
Yeah, I'm going with Radiance as well. And again, just the fact that they were able to finish so strong, and they know what they need to do here early in this Invitational to give themselves better seeding as it moves on, play those better games. I think they're going to come out very, very strong here in week number 1 and be able to take down Irate.
Same, I concur.
Well, Radiance. That's simple. Let's move on to the 10 o'clock
You
match.
both covered it.
I will cover you just like Dilly is covered in water.
Worlds.
Moving on to the 10 o'clock matches. There are 4 10 o'clock matches on Thursday. The first one off of stream is Escape Velocity versus Aspire Entertainment. Escape Velocity able to finish a little bit ahead of Aspire in the closed qualifier. Dilly, is it going to maintain that, or are they going to be able to take down Aspire here in week number 1?
I think that Escape is going to come out with a dub on this one, just based on how they both played in the closed quals. I mean, obviously, you're playing in closed quals, you got the nerves, you got all that going on. But I do think Escape, unless they can be proven wrong, I think they're going to come out and win this one. Plus, again, I mean, there only can be one true dragon in IGL, and I just got to vote against that. So
the real reason why you're not picking Irate. Tank.
I agree. I think Escape Velocity, they're one of the best teams in the Invitational, just from what they've done outside of IGL since we've last seen them, at least in the Invitational under RTX. And so I think they're going to bounce back strong after a tough night 1 loss to Origin and prove a point and show Aspire what it's like to be in IGL.
Yeah, I think you hit the key point there. What they have done outside of IGL, we know that they haven't just been sitting idle. And I'm not saying that Aspire has been either, but we've been seeing this Escape Velocity squad make waves all around the place, and I think they're going to continue that and be able to take down Aspire here in week number 1. The second match at 10 o'clock, Origin Gaming Numero Dos versus Team Ignis. Team Ignis able to make it in with the closed quals, with the Origin obviously winning the open quals. So have a little bit of discretion here against the 2 qualifiers. But Dilly, where does your allegiance stand here?
On this one, I'm going to go with Origin Gaming too. I think that they really showed up in the open quals. Obviously, we haven't seen both these teams play together, so it's going to be really interesting to see, really comparing the talent between each qualification. So it's going to be a really fun match, but I'm going to take Origin Gaming too on this one. I have a lot of faith, but I have a little faith in Pokey.
Tank, I'm going to make an assumption that I know where you are. Yes?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm going with Origin Gaming too.
We're all on board here with Origin.
Now the question is, which Origin Gaming 2 do we get in game 2? Because if they win game 1 well, we are going to see some clips. But if it's a close one, well, you know.
Yeah. Well, and I think the biggest
if they need
thing...
a streamer, I know one.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, I know a co-caster, that you be able to have with this that we haven't quite touched on is that they do have a lot of invitational experience. So this isn't a new thing to them, and they'll be able to come in and even when they ultimately lose to Trash in week number or on Tuesday, they'll be able to bounce back here and go 500 for the week and take down Team Ignis. At 10 o'clock, also, third match, not on stream, Trash Esports versus Galactic Gaming, the runner-up from the Spring Invitational. Trash taking on Galactic Gaming, who just squeaked their way in with the auto bid, but did get that. Didn't have to play their way through. Dilly, where are you sitting?
On this one, I mean, Galactic Gaming, they have definitely shown, like we've talked about, they struggled last season, but they really, showed their true form near the end. And I really think that they took that in the off season and they made some, they're probably tinkered a little bit, just really came together, built their chemistry. I think they're going to put up a fight, but I don't think they're ready for Trash yet. I think Trash is going to be able to take care of business. That's all I have to say. Trash. I think Trash is going to take it.
Yeah. And we saw Tuck in here talking that he wasn't able to grind quite the way that they were wanting to on the offseason. I still think Trash is still Trash. Tuck and CG, definitely still absolutely fantastic, and love those guys. And I think they're going to be able to continue their ways. And even though they don't start off fast, they still find a way somehow, some way. And I think they'll be able to take down Galactic.
Choo-choo, we back on that Trash train, baby.
Trying to mend broken fences.
Those fences can never be
betrayed fences. Trying to mend them. Going into our final matchup of week number 1 at 10 o'clock. It is on stream here on Indy Gaming 317. It is Origin Gaming versus Rbg Claw, the winner of the open the winner of the closed quals versus the team that rose from the grave. Dilly, will the apocalypse, the zombie apocalypse, be able to take down the Mountain of Origin?
I don't think they'll be able to handle that. I don't think they can handle. I don't think they can handle what Origin has to offer at this moment. I think, like I've said, Rbg, amazing chemistry. They've came a long way. They have a great future, but Origin Gaming, I just feel like they're on a different level at the moment, and it's hard to say. It's hard to bet against them. So I'm going to go with Origin on this one. Love you, Deluxe. Sorry. I'm going to go with Origin, and producers, if you want to meet Tang, feel free. We can just go straight to Broke.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna talk over him anyway, since Tank is picking Origin. But Tank, do you have any 2 cents on? Okay.
I mean, just to go off of what Billy said,
that Origin is going to. Go ahead.
Nope, I'm back.
I'm back again.
I'm back.
Yes,
I'm going.
Yes,
I'm back again.
Back again.
As to piggyback off of Dilly, I don't think they're ready. I don't think they're ready for this puppy, and I think they're going to run into the powerhouse. Week 1 is really what it's going to come down to.
Yeah. Well, and you touched on it a little bit earlier as well. The key that we have seen to take down Origin is to get rid of Lemon Puppy. Typically, that nice, safe player on the back wants to play third man. Is going to make sure nothing gets behind the team. They don't play a lot of defense because he makes sure that they're constantly on offense. And we haven't seen Rbg be a real physical team on a consistent basis, which would allow them to be. So I don't think they're quite have that chemistry to be able to do so against Origin. I think Origin will be able to take it and go 2-0 here in week number 1. Those are our matchups for week number 1. Again, your streamed matches here on week number 1 on Tuesday.
Wait. I need to know who Dilly's going to pick overall.
Why just me?
Oh. Yeah, no. We will get there. We will get there.
Oh, the one you just added.
Chill. Best Buds United versus Aspire Entertainment at 8. Trash versus Rbg Gaming 2 at 9. And Wet Esports versus New Horizon at 10. Those are your stream matches on a Tuesday. On Thursday, Eclipse Esports versus Circuitry at 8. Irate Esports versus Radiance Esports at 9. And Origin Gaming versus Rbg Claw at 10. Those are all your Eastern times for the 6 streamed matches. The rest of the matches you can see on the screen at this moment. But it is an absolute travesty if we do not walk away without first having our wild prediction. And that wild prediction tonight, Dilly, who's winning it all?
He's hiding.
Oh, it looks like
Dilly.
Yep, Dilly ran away. I did see him take off his headphone a minute, so it looks like he is talking in the background.
I'm back.
He's back.
Right. So I had to do my prediction. So
yeah, no worries. So did you hear the question?
Yes. Something about predictions.
Yes. Your wild prediction. Who's winning it all?
Who's winning it all? All right. So my wild prediction. We're all doing it, right? Not just me.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just.
At least that's what we're telling. That's what we're telling you.
You're telling me, yeah. You're setting me up for failure, here, guys. My wild prediction. It's a team. It was in the circuit last season. Y'all know them. Y'all love them. They came so close to winning. That it's going to be Eclipse Esports.
Oh.
Wow.
Eclipse Esports. We all know who they are. They came so close to getting to the finals last season. But they're held back because they threw. So I think they're going to put that aside. They're going to use that, put a chip on their shoulder, and they're going to go all the way, take the dub, dethrone Wet. It's going to be Eclipse Esports. Book it.
All right, Tank.
All right. Overall winner. I'll give you 2 wild predictions. I will give you who I think is going to win it all, which is not wild, and I will give you a wild one. Yeah. I think Origin takes it all down. You got to figure they are the odds-on favorite, even though Wet did win last time. Origin's roster is just super, super strong. But my wild and crazy prediction is New Horizons finish top 4.
Finish top 4. Okay, interesting. So I'm with you with Origin winning everything, and my wild prediction is Wet Esports finishes outside top 4.
Wow, really?
Wow, interesting.
Okay, that's a bold move. It's a bold move, Cotton.
And again, it would not surprise me if Wet Esports wins it. It really wouldn't. It would not surprise me at all if Wet wins the whole thing. But I don't know, something, we want a wild prediction. Something in the back of my head says, after what we saw in the playoffs from the from the spring, and almost going down, I think teams will be able to jump on top of that.
I will agree with you on that. I mean, I think that they're a team to be reckoned with, but there's a lot of new talent that came in this league this time, especially at Origin. I mean, you got, just going down the list. I mean, Escape Velocity, you got Irate, you got a lot of new teams. So I definitely can see that happening. And a lot of teams, I mean, they're playing for the purpose this time, and they saw what Wet did, and they're like, no, I want that. So I think it's gonna be really interesting seeing what's gonna happen.
Yep, absolutely. And again, this is for cash money. There is a prize at the end of the tunnel, so you know these teams are all going to be playing their absolute best and lights out week in, week out as the regular season for 6 weeks and then a playoffs after that. It'll be a modified Swiss tournament, so we will have the matchups on a week-to-week basis based on how the teams play the prior week. Starting next week, this pre-show will move on to Tuesdays prior to the 8 o'clock match. It'll either be at 7:15 or 7:30. Be sure to have your IGL announcements turned on the Discord for that. It will at least be Tank and I, and we'll be trying to get somebody as a guest, as we had a super special one. Thank you again so much, Dilly. Final closing comment. I will hand it over to you, Dilly.
Got put on the spot. I'd like to thank my mom. I'd like to thank my wife for letting me do this. I'd like to thank the Academy. And I'd really like to thank Cookies for being such a subpar admin in IGL. Just kidding.
That's the nicest thing you could have said. I'm impressed.
I know. So, no, thanks for having me on this. It's been a really great time. I've had a good time. It's going to be excited to watch all of this. So, let's get to it.
Let's get to it indeed. Thank you guys so very much for joining us. And again, a huge shout out to League OS for making this possible, powering us for this Summer Invitational. On behalf of everyone behind the scenes, Marty and Joel with League OS, Cookies on the back end with the Invitational and the production here, as well as Tankard. I have been Baroque Fang. You guys have been awesome. Please stick around for a raid. Until next time, which better be tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern, we'll see Tank and I casting our first Invitational match for Summer 2022. Everybody have a fantastic rest of your night and a beautiful, beautiful Tuesday. We'll see y'all back. Take care of yourselves.